How's it going? Steven here. My guest today is easily one of the most popular beers in the country right now. But is it any good? I was going to try to start off with some kind of juice pun, but none of them are worth the squeeze. So about 2 fingers of white foam. Retention is pretty good. Straw color, not entirely transparent. This is really stretching the definition of hazy. I've seen wheat beers hazier than this. New Belgium was founded in 1991 by newlyweds Jeff Lebish and Kim Jordan. A bicycling trip to Belgium in 1988 inspired Jeff, already an experienced homebrewer of traditional German and British styles, to bring this brewing tradition back home. Jeff made the first test beers on repurposed dairy equipment and hand-built electrical work and plumbing they'd installed in the basement of their Fort Collins home, while Kim juggled just about every brewery support role. These beers would become Fat Tire and Abbey. Belgian beer was something of a difficult sell to most American beer drinkers at the time, and even to the small enthusiast community interested in these imports. This was particularly demonstrated by the absence of Belgian-style categories in the first decade of the Great American Beer Festival, where Abbey won gold in the largely undefined specialty category in 1993. Still riding the recognition from this win and the local success they'd attracted, New Belgium moved into a new production facility nearby in 1995, which still serves as their main taproom location today. The following year, the brewery got a new brewmaster, a Belgian transplant from the Rodenbach brewery. Not simply interested in brewing beers modeled after those from his homeland, Peter sought to explore hoppy beers, wood aging, fermentation, and yeast experimentation. In a major stepping-off point toward that, New Belgium began its pioneering sour program in 1998, headed by the new wood cellar director and blender, Lauren Limbach. This grand experiment resulted in the first batch of La Folie in 2000, as well as the Lips of Faith series, influencing many similar programs throughout the country. Finally realizing their early business aspirations of environmental stewardship, New Belgium became a certified B Corp and member of 1% for the Planet in 2003, preceding wind and solar build-outs at their facilities and Fat Tire's certification as the first carbon-neutral beer. In an eerie foreshadowing, New Belgium changed its logo and branding in 2006 as a response to drinkers recognizing Fat Tire, while not making the connection to New Belgium. Following Jeff and Kim's divorce in 2009, Jeff fully retired from the company, having semi-retired 8 years prior. By 2012, the company had become 100% employee-owned after buying out Kim's remaining shares. She would step down as CEO 3 years later to enter her new role as executive chair of the board of directors. After just 8 years of ownership, employees voted to be acquired by Lion Little World Beverages, a subsidiary of Kirin. They were joined a year later by another brewery that's been covered on the channel, Bell's Brewing. Our guest today debuted in 2022, eventually spawning variants like Fruit Force and Tropic Force due to its resounding success. That wasn't the only big change to the brewery's portfolio. Fat Tire gets reimagined in 2023, with an entire recipe change that resulted in a lighter, easier drinking golden ale, which was not particularly well received by fans of the original. But a return to the original in the near future may not be such a crazy idea. Presently, New Belgium has several large production facilities scattered throughout the country and partnerships abroad. Their beers are available in all 50 states and Canada, and they produce Kirin beers stateside. Hey, am I going to manage to get this one focused this time? This is a very artificial orange character, but there's layers of the real thing. It's like orange rind and peel, some of the fruit, some orange zest. Just kind of a faint vanilla that's giving an impression of orange creamsicle. There's even a bit of that like tangerine cuties kind of thing. There's tropical fruit, but it's kind of vague. We're leaning in the like mango and pineapple-ish territory. This is really testing my sensory abilities. Cheers. Nice. Ooh, got a little mustache there. The flavor is primarily the same notes from the nose, mostly artificial orange, but also all the components of an actual orange, and even a little bit of its juiciness. Aside from that orange though, the aroma and flavor are really muddled. Imperial India Pale Ale with natural flavors. That natural flavors part is doing some really heavy lifting here. For something with such a long and varied hops list, the fruit character I'd expect from these hops is either absent, indistinct, or very faint. The fruit that is there comes off as very artificial and one-dimensional. It's the kind of fruit character that I would expect to get out of a soda. It's time for a top-up.
Time for a little drinky poo. Cheers, genitals.
So the body is medium, the bitterness moderate, carbonation is moderate with a pleasant softness that extends into the feel, and the finish is lengthy. It's starting off zesty and eventually drying almost into astringency. There's a little boozy sharpness popping up as well. I simply do not like this beer, but I get the appeal. It's cheap, it's flavored in a bunch of different ways, and it's widely available. It's offensively inoffensive. Why didn't you just make the tasting portion about Triple, 1554, La Folie, or Fat Tire then? If I want to talk about New Belgium, the company and the brewery, which is half the point of my tasting videos, I'm inevitably forced to talk about this beer due to its success and popularity. So I'll answer that question with a question. If I had done one of those other beers as the tasting, would you have clicked on the video? I'd wager that most drinkers of the Ranger line don't even know who New Belgium is, or that New Belgium makes it, just as it was with Fat Tire's brand recognition in 2006. There's a pretty big split between the people buying New Belgium proper and the people buying anything from the Force line, and there's not a lot of overlap in my experience. That divide seems to exist in the company too. There's the more traditional and veteran brewery that's environmentally conscious and a registered B Corp that's built a reputation for making some excellent beer, and the almost startup tech company level wacky, how do you do fellow kids, Voodoo Ranger Juice Brewery. You could be forgiven for thinking these beers are made by two different companies, not one company making vastly different beers and decisions. It's a real Jekyll and Hyde situation. If we know where New Belgium started and operates as a company, but we also know the Ranger beers have become such a focus for them because of their overwhelming popularity, how long can this divide continue? Is Voodoo Ranger a part of New Belgium, or has New Belgium become Voodoo Ranger? Cheers, and thanks for watching.